stereotype that Africans are late.
How do you stay connected to your Ethiopian roots?
Usually there are two parties.
Can we get it somewhere?
I even have one published book. You could not find it in Ethiopia.
Apple doesn't fall far from the... Hello and welcome to Unfiltered Culture, everyone, where we explore different cultures and personal stories. I am your host, Aman, and today we're excited to have Dere with us. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's start with some basics. Introduce yourself a bit and tell us what you do.
As you said, my full name is Dere. A lot of people call me Dere. I'm from Ethiopia, a small town called Debrecen.
Okay.
I work as an engineer in a software company.
All right.
So I'm close to technology also.
Nice.
I have been living in Germany more than 8 years now.
8 years. Okay. How's the German going?
Good.
Let's keep it there. Good.
Yeah, it's difficult. But
Okay, I see. I mean, the work situation, the path, like, can you call it IT or is it more like?
It's you cannot. It's a little bit different.
It's broad.
Yes.
Okay.
It's different. Yeah. It's more close. So it's a combination of physics and computer science.
I see. So, what inspired you to pursue this culture, and how's your journey so far?
So I did my bachelor's in Ethiopia in electrical engineering,
Okay.
and I came to Germany to study my master's degree, and that's in optical technologies. So as everyone, when I was a child, I always like to open electronic stuffs.
At least everybody does it once.
Exactly. The problem with me was putting them back together was not easy.
Yeah.
And since then, I was more into new things in technology. And plus, for the area I'm focusing now, my uncle, who was also studying physics and material science, which is closer to this area. So he was my inspiration, kind of my role model. So I grew up looking up to him.
I see. Yeah. Nice. I mean, work is a big part of our life, of course. And outside of work, what do you do that you enjoy, like hobby or something?
Yeah, regarding hobbies. So I read books. Reading books is what I do besides work. Plus, I also write poems.
Ooh.
Of course, in Amharic. Do not expect me to write in English or in German.
Still.
Not yet. I even have one published book,
wow.
which I did when I was my graduating year of my bachelor's.
So this is an Ethiopian then?
Yes, it's in Ethiopia. So, I mean, when you are young, you are energetic and you like
time,
to try.
Of course.
Exactly. And brave also. So
nice.
You are open to try things. So, yeah.
What is the book called, to be honest?
It's called Tabaatay Musho.
Okay.
In Amharic. So Tabaatay means masculine, so a man. Musho is so in Ethiopian culture, in funerals, when someone dies, there is this tradition of, I don't know whether it's now still on or not, but there was a tradition, people gather together and there will be someone in the middle leading, telling some poetic things about the person who passed, and the others will follow. So this is called Musho. So the title will translate to something like a man cry. Oh. So this Musho thing was mainly done by females, but for the book title, it's like a man doing that.
Interesting. Can we get it somewhere, or is it?
You could not find it in Ethiopia. It's not on the market. What the printed copies are sold out. There was no second edition in so. But
that was the first edition, and then
yes. I mean, after 2 years, I also left Ethiopia. So, nice. But if you want one, you can call me.
Yeah, I will definitely for sure.
Or your viewers can also call me.
I mean, you come from Ethiopia, a country with rich history and vibrant culture. Yeah. And how has the Ethiopian heritage influenced your life and approach to your work situation and day-to-day life here now in Germany?
Of course, it influences how you live in many ways, because we are kind of the summation of the cultures and the values we have throughout our life. How you grow in a community, how you learn in a community, this will, of course, later impact your life. So when we grow up, we are taught to respect people, to respect our elders, to respect people's opinion. This has a strong value in your day-to-day life, in your work life. As a human being, we are always inclined to people who respect us, our opinions. So this is something which could help you. And the social skill we have also, how we interact with people, how we approach, how we work together. These are something which influences me during my work life or day-to-day life, you could say.
Nice. I mean, balancing culture, identity, new environment could be challenging, of course. How do you stay connected to your Ethiopian roots while working in a global industry?
Thanks to technology nowadays, getting connected with people wherever they live is not that much difficult. You can call, you can video chat, you can chat with a text and everything that's possible. So I always keep in touch with my family back home, with everybody and my friends back home. So I always do that. Plus, to top this off, also I travel home once at least per year.
Nice.
Visit.
Stay long or just short?
Yeah, I figured out the exact duration by trial and error.
Nice.
I went once, it was too long. I went second time, it was too short.
Okay.
Then I do the average. Simple mathematics.
The perfect. I see. Nice. I mean, technology is nowadays a big part of our life, of course. Shapes our culture and in different ways. In your view, is technology like influencing our culture or like our tradition? How is it like in Ethiopian or globally, like with the technology situation?
Whether we like it or not, we cannot deny the impact of technology on culture and on the way how people do things, either it's positively or negatively. When technology is advancing, how people do things change also.
Of course.
For example, we can again mention the social media, how information goes through social media,
quickly,
for example, very quickly. I mean, previously, people have to come together to discuss about something. That was the way how information passes through. But now, me and you being here in Germany could act like we are in Addis and then give some misinformation. So this is, for example, one of the negative impact it has. But on the other side also, positively, it's also changing how things being done. Now we could have a video call with our family back home, and then we can celebrate even events.
Still,
So this is also the positive impact it has. So yes, it's impacting how people live and the cultural value they have, but it
has also both sides.
Exactly, it's either positive or negative. I mean, when a new technology came, usually there are two parties. The one who wants to use it for positive and the other for negative, so they work against each other.
Yeah, for sure. So back in the days, or I wouldn't say back in the days, back in Ethiopian, because you mentioned it a lot. So how was it the change from Ethiopian to here? Because it's a big culture shock, for sure. How do you manage, and what are you missing here?
It's difficult when you move from where you spent most of your life and then come to a new world almost. So a lot of things change, including language, how things are being done. Here I have to mention about a book I was reading recently. It's called in translation. It's a story about a Polish someone who immigrated from Poland to Canada after the war, and the way she expressed how you grow or your memories attached to words. She, for example, give the example of this word river. So she says, for her in English, river is just a river, but in Polish it means those rivers which she knows specifically, like how she grew, what she used to do going with friends there.
Connected with memories. Then.
Exactly. So when you come to a different area and you are introduced to a new culture, a new language, you're struggling with all this. These are always pulling you back. Coming to your next question, what I miss a lot of things. I miss the social life there. I miss the life you have after work, how you meet with your friends, how you can talk with people easily. So the social life thing, that's something which I miss. Of course, the food. I also miss the food.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, what about the food?
Of course, I miss the food. Even though we have how could I?
Copyright?
No, I mean
almost. You mean the restaurants or?
No, like the food that we have here, like the high copy version of the Ethiopian food.
Okay,
but it doesn't taste like back home. I think it's the same for everybody. So I miss also the food. So I miss the discussions which you can have with some stranger people, you know. I don't know, the word stranger, for example, also maybe defined differently in different cultures.
Exactly.
I mean, here you cannot really talk with someone you meet on the street. In Ethiopia, you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also these differences, you know, like in Ethiopian is more your neighbors, your family.
Exactly. We grew up being guarded by everybody in the neighborhood.
Exactly. So whenever you go, you have your families, and then you have your second family, which is your neighbors.
Yeah, that's
when the family are not there, you go to your neighbors to have lunch.
Yeah.
You know, I have experienced that. Of course.
It's true. I mean, we grow up eating all in everybody's house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in Ethiopian, how is your childhood, and how was your study life in Ethiopian is also different.
It's different. Yes, it's different. So my childhood, I grew up with my parents moving from one place to the other.
Okay.
Because my parents are teachers, both my father and my mother. And due to that, they have to change schools, especially in the first 8 years of my education. In my junior school, we have to move from place to place. I grew up like that. For my high school, a couple of years, I have to study alone. I think for a year or two, I was alone, living alone. Yeah, it was a young age, actually. Then I, of course, moved to university.
Totally different.
So, yes, in Ethiopia, for the university, we traveled a little far away. Yeah. I was around 500 kilometers away from family. And we live in the same compound. You sleep there, you study there, you eat there for 5 years.
You become friends.
Family. Yeah.
Probably. But some people do far away schools or universities to get away from the parents.
Oh, so they have a bit of the spirit, yeah.
Because go on.
I mean, that's usually the motive you have when you choose which university you want to go.
Okay.
But you will notice you made a mistake on the first couple of months. You will miss home.
Exactly. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure when you came here, you also did the same thing.
So even worse, yes.
But how, teacher situation, how was life having a parents as a teacher? And of course, it could be, I can imagine it could be difficult, but how was it for you?
So my parents were teaching in the same school. I was studying my junior school. So it was good and difficult at the same time.
So in the same school they teach?
Exactly. So the difficult part is you cannot make any mistake. If you do something stupid as a kid, your father or your mother will hear.
Did they have any subject with you, like in a
They
class?
do, yes. Both my mother and my father taught me.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Interesting. That's
yes,
nice.
Yes, I remember, yes. And the good thing is, of course, at least back then when I was in school, you get some of the respect because you are the child of a teacher.
I see. Nobody was mess with you, I see.
Yes.
Of course. And you will never miss your homework, of course.
Of course, that's not possible. That's what I said. You cannot make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you made a mistake, then your father will hear about it. And then after school, you will get some beating.
I see. I mean, it's interesting. Though.
I mean, by that time, beating was normal.
It's normal. I mean, I think nowadays, not anymore
not
that
anymore,
common.
Yes.
But back in the days,
yes,
it was. But it's interesting that how you said, if your father listens to, if your father become, you're like, he knows, okay, you did something wrong.
Yeah.
He was the one who's like, okay, what about your mom? Because your mom was a teacher, so who was more the disciplinarian here?
My father.
Okay.
So with my mother, it's more of like, oh, I cannot with you. Why are you doing this? I will tell your father when you come home.
So you give all the responsibility to...
Yes.
Yeah, I see. No,
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense. Makes sense, of
Yeah.
course. And moving parts. So you move with your parents, of course, when they move, right?
Yes,
When they
yes.
change school. How was that going with you and friends, though?
It's not that difficult because in the school, the teachers live in the same compound.
Okay.
So they also have kids. And you have the same problem. So they are also moving, you're also moving. You know that maybe in the next 2 years you will be somewhere else. So it was not that challenging. And we were kids, it's junior school.
So common ground.
Yeah, it's not that difficult, yes. It's challenging. You have to learn a new area, but not that much.
Nice. I mean, being your parents' teachers, have you learned something or have you done something similar what they've done?
That's a good question. I also was a teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I am also teaching right now.
Here in Germany?
Yes, I teach kids in church.
Nice.
And back home, before I came to Germany, I was an assistant lecturer in a university. Even though my title was assistant lecturer because of a shortage of staff, I was teaching. So for the whole 2 years, so 4 semesters, I was giving lectures for undergraduate students.
Oh, so you're teaching the uni, though?
Yes.
So how do you say the apple doesn't fall far from the...
Yeah, you can say that.
Interesting.
It has its own influence on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and honestly speaking, I like teaching.
Nice.
If I go back home after some time from here, probably I will be teacher again.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. But because when you were a teacher, you were pretty young, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So how was that the respect between your students and yourself? Is it like...
Yes. So there were students who are older than me. There were students who are the same age like I was. There were some students who are, of course, younger than me. So my approach to this problem was, in the first on the second class, I usually tell the students, okay, as you see, we are not that much different in age, but in the school compound, as long as we are teacher and student, you should give me the respect I deserve. But outside, you can call me Dere. We can be friends. We can watch football together.
That's cool.
I'm a football fan. And we can have a beer or whatever you drink.
Nice.
Coffee or something. So it works out very, very well. So as far as I remember, I have a very good relation with my students.
Nice. I mean, teachers always has a bit difficult because if you try this approach, which makes it easier to connect with you, to understand, of course.
Yeah.
And you said about good still connection with your students, and then they understand where you come from and where you want to go. So you being here, do you have any contacts with your students?
I do, yes. On social media, I talk with some of my previous students.
Okay.
So when I came here through a scholarship.
Okay.
So when my previous students graduate also from their bachelor, they want to do the same. So they usually ask me what they should do. Actually, even if they are students, which were directly my students, but some of them who knows me from back then, they also wrote me. I mean, I meet them in LinkedIn, Facebook, and stuff. So I'm always happy to help.
Technology.
Exactly.
It's connecting, of course.
Yes.
Nice. But so where were you teaching school-wise? Which uni was it?
It was Jimma University, so
Okay.
west part of Ethiopia.
Nice. So anyone from Jimma University, please give us a comment and tell us how your Mr. Teacher Dere was teaching you and treating you. Please, we love to know. So you're not from the capital city.
No, I am from the countryside.
Countryside. So where are you from, and what is the city known for?
I'm from a small town called Dere. It's around 200 kilometers away from the capital.
Nice.
It's a very cold area. Since it's cold, we are known for one of the traditional alcohol.
Alcohol?
Yes, arake it's called.
Nice. So for anyone who don't know what arake means, it's something similar to whiskey or vodka, but it's homemade and you don't know how much alcohol is actually in it.
I don't know. At least we don't know. It's homemade, so yeah.
It could get also stronger by the time they leave it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And how they make it also. So they decide how strong it can be.
Have you ever tried to bring that culture here?
I don't think I should answer this one publicly because in the Ethiopian airport you are not in Addis Ababa. I think you are not allowed to take it out.
Alcohol. I see. Nice.
So,
but when you go back, you always try it.
Of course.
Nice.
One for the culture.
One for the culture. So friendship and school and moving away. You had friends in Ethiopian. And now you got new friends in Germany.
Yeah.
So, how's the friendship still? Are you still having connection with your old friends in Ethiopian, or just when you go back you would see them or you meet them?
I try to maintain as much communication as possible all the time, because the good thing is even though you don't talk that much.
Yeah.
For example, right now in my hometown, due to the ongoing civil war, there is no internet connection.
Okay.
So even to talk with my family, I have to call directly to their mobile phones. No WhatsApp or Viber calls or things like that. Yeah. But even though it's like this, whenever we get the chance, we talk like we talked yesterday. You know,
that's good.
Exactly. So I try to keep in contact with all of them. Some of my friends, my high school friends, are also outside of Ethiopia, in the US and everywhere. With them also, I try to keep contact.
Nice.
But whenever we meet, it's
always
like the good old days.
Perfect. Because Germany and Ethiopia, they couldn't be far from each other. How is the social life here in comparison to Ethiopian?
I think social life have a different meaning here. It's not like...
Let's start there.
Exactly. It's not... so the social life back home, it's more of very interconnected, you know. So how we grow, it's also more socially. So we are easy to meet each other. It's easy to meet each other, to talk to people, do things together.
No schedule needed.
That's
yeah.
Of course, that has its own impact. But since we grow through it, for example, something which always amazes me in Ethiopia, when you make appointment for tomorrow, it's possible to say, let's meet tomorrow afternoon. And it works. You know, it's not like let's meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. or at 3 p.m. You say
not even specific time.
Yeah, you say let's meet tomorrow afternoon, and you meet, and it works. You know, because we grew up like that. It's a little bit, of course, difficult sometimes to manage things, but it works. So it's different. Social life here and there, it's different.
Definitely.
But if you are open to adapt to a new environment, you can manage both.
Let's get you to some, because stereotypes, especially when you go out of your own country, some other people might know your country or might not. So is there any stereotype you like and relate to it? And is there any stereotype you don't really like at all?
I don't know if you can like stereotype at all. I mean, usually, maybe there is a positive stereotype. I don't know.
I mean, you can relate to. Let's say not like, but you can relate to.
Yeah, you can relate to. For example, this what we were discussing a minute ago about being late or making appointments in a different way. So there is this mindset that, or stereotype that Africans are late in general. So this is something which has truthness a little bit into it.
And you also lean into it because everybody knows you're being late. So
you take advantage of it.
Exactly. But has that changed since you're here in Germany?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I am more punctual here.
Wow. So when you go back to Ethiopia for vacation, will you take that with you or just...
No.
So once you leave the country, it stays here?
Yes.
Nice.
Because you go back there and then you act how the system works here.
Nice.
Because if you want to be punctual, I'm not saying there are not punctual people there, but it's more relaxed. So, I mean, I'm not going to be 2 hours late or 3 hours late or even half hour late. But sometimes if you are 15-20 minutes late, it's acceptable.
But still in Ethiopia, what I noticed is like in the capital city, even if you want to be punctual, you can't. Literally, the street might be full, or you miss something, or the ride is not coming. I don't know, but you can't be punctual.
It's difficult, yes.
So maybe that's also the reason why.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you have to live with the situation.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's true.
So for the work situation, because when we talk about Ethiopian culture, stereotype and everything, now when you come back to Germany, how was the work situation here? Because you work in Ethiopian 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
And how was it here? Is it like to compare these two? Which one is easier and which one is like more calm and challenging?
I don't think easier would describe any of the two. They are different in their own ways. How things work, they are different. For me, it's even a little difficult to compare because what I did here and what I did back home are two different things. I mean, even though I have to work 8 hours back home, my main task was teaching. So I do have a 2-hour lecture one day. The next day I may not have. So I will work some research and stuff at my own time.
Okay.
But right now I have a full day work from 8 hours per day, sometimes more, sometimes less.
That's it.
So it's not that easy to compare, but they both have their own sides. Yes. Yeah. So I think the only thing I would say would be you need readjustment.
Okay.
So when you came from a work culture in Ethiopia to here, you need
totally
to adjust. Yes.
Okay.
And if you go back also, you need to adjust yourself.
Oh, nice. I mean, balancing between your work here and life, of course. And is there like sometimes when you come from Ethiopia and you're full of social life, everybody knows everybody and your neighbors, your family and stuff like that. And here you don't have that often, you know? Have you had any challenges with that?
Yes, it's always difficult, especially in the beginning, because I remember my first Sunday in Erlangen. So as you know, on Sunday in Ethiopia, everybody's outside almost. Everything is open. But here on Sunday, everybody's inside. Almost.
Everything is closed, of course.
Everything is closed. People prefer to stay home, especially in small towns. Maybe in Munich it's different, but in small cities like Erlangen, in the living areas, there's nobody on the street. So I was out and I was asking myself, where's everybody? Do they go to the other cities on Sunday? And I'm left here? Oh my God.
Without knowing, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because Saturday, Sunday is the off days and nobody want to do anything because probably they had like stressful week and then just want to...
This is one thing. This is how a difference in how you define your free time or your weekends. Back home, when you are free, you want to be with people.
Yeah, of course.
You want to interact more.
Yeah, that's what you know.
Exactly. But here, if you have your free time, you want to spend it individually. Maybe you want to stay home, talk with family, or do some other stuff.
Yeah.
So this is also one cultural difference. That's why also it's different.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So to get a summon, like to close it up slowly, but sure. Nowadays, everything is like with the internet and everything is easy to access, and people can just look at this podcast.
Yeah.
Please do, and they can learn something. What is it that you have learned, or one lesson that you have learned since you've been here in Germany?
This is a very broad question. We have to specify because I learn a lot here.
In like, okay, let's make it shorter. A lesson which you use in your day-to-day life.
Again, in what regard? I mean, culturally or academically?
Because it's of course, I understand. It's of course a different environment here in Germany. Because when you come from Ethiopia, you leave everything there.
Yes.
And then when you're here, you start a new culture, a new everything. So what is it that you learn from the, let's say, Germans that you embedded now in your own culture and you use it daily?
I see. Yeah, now it's more clear. Efficiency is one thing in how you perform your tasks. So this is something I developed here more. I'm more efficient, I would say, compared to a couple of years back when I came here. And the other quality we mentioned earlier, being punctual, that's also something. And the other thing is also how you need to set your goals and you work for them. This is also... when I mention these points, it's not like I don't have them and I gave them here. It's more it's like more I developed them more here. So they are living here with this culture, with these people. Now they become more stronger and developed.
Nice. It was a good closing, by the way. So on this podcast especially, I have found a culture where I saw it somewhere, and it's not a copyright. It's something nice. You take it with you. So someone before you will write a question.
I see.
Without knowing who they write the question for. And that someone being you now will have to answer the question from the person before you.
I see.
Okay? And then you will write your own question for the other person.
Interesting. That's
okay?
Nice. Okay.
So I have this question here.
Yeah.
It says, how has culture changed your life?
How can culture change my life? This is actually a very good question to summarize what we discussed from the beginning until now. Culture, of course, impacts or changes someone's life in every step, I would say. So the way you grow up influences later in your life how you do things. The community you grow up will impact later your behavior when you are part of a community. Whether it is the same community or a different one. So in each and every step of my movement forward, in back home or here in the new culture, it's changing my life. As we said earlier, like the question before this one, what I learned from here, So being on time, being efficient, what I learned back home, respecting people, being more sociable and helping each other. These things, they are changing my life in every step, wherever they are coming.
That's true.
So, yeah, you cannot avoid this, but it always impacts in a positive way, mostly.
All right. So, Dere, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience today with us. It's been a pleasure having you here on the show. Do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners?
First, thank you very much for having me. It was also very nice talking with you. An advice would be everybody moving to a different culture or a different country, be open-minded and don't give up. There is always a challenge waiting for you. So be ready and take it on. That's my advice. And thank you for having me, Aman. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I will have you again for different topics, of course. And let me know what kind of topics you want to hear from him in the comments.
Yeah, I'm always available.
All right. Thank you again for joining us, you guys, and also to you, Dere. And keep your life interesting. Explore different cultures so you can see how everything's connected. It's been a pleasure with you. I will see you on the next episode. This was Unfiltered Culture with Aman, your host. See you next time. Peace.